I know from talking to people around the league, owners and executives, they're very, very concerned about it because Gruden is very, very upset. He wants the truth. He said no number on a check will satisfy him, and he wants his career back.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is truly an insane event coming up. It is all going down in October. The reason why you haven't heard about this is because all NFL owners, executives, lawyers, hell, even many GMs, head coaches, veteran players, and broadcasters fear that the end of the league is nigh. The end times are officially upon us, and Gruden is riding with the 4 horsemen of the Goodell-ocalypse. What exactly are we talking about? In October is when the Nevada Supreme Court more than likely shoots down the NFL's attempt to stop Jon Gruden's lawsuit from going to trial. Why? Because if it goes to trial, Jon Gruden's legal team will have access to everything. And everything will become public record and the truth will finally come out. This also includes all 650,000 emails from the Dan Snyder investigation. They will be able to subpoena NFL owners Goodell himself for absolutely anything that pertains to Jon Gruden's case. Roger Goodell and the NFL could end up getting busted. Who knows if people are going to face criminal charges? And in this latest report, we have discovered that Jon Gruden has said that no amount of money on a check will satisfy him or get him to stop burning the NFL's house down. We have ESPN's Don Venata today on the Rich Eisen show, and what he said about Jon Gruden and these NFL owners who are very afraid of Gruden's attitude right now.
The Gruden story is really, I think, the biggest concern among the owners right now because Gruden has said that he is not going to settle.
And this is the guy who helped write that ESPN report about Jon Gruden's situation with the NFL. And they spent a long amount of time trying to conduct certain theories as to who they think is responsible behind Jon Gruden's email leak, even though Jon Gruden and his legal team have maintained this whole time that Roger Goodell and the NFL were behind the leak. But these people are trying to put some alternative theories right now. They're trying to pin it all on Dan Snyder, who has now been kicked out of the NFL and is no longer the owner of the Washington Commanders. But what was interesting is they admitted some truthful tidbits here, mainly that there are several owners who believe that Roger Goodell is behind Jon Gruden's email leaks.
That there are owners, there are 4 of them that Seth Wickersham and I spoke with, say they believe Roger Goodell personally had something to do with the leaks. Goodell denied just a couple of weeks after the leaks to both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times on these Gruden emails that he had anything to do with them, and yet there are still 4 owners, at least that told us on background, that they don't believe the commissioner.
So Jon Gruden currently believes it's Goodell in the NFL, and we got additional owners who also believe it. And if you followed the coverage around this, you know it makes sense that it's Roger Goodell. You got Pro Football Talk reminding us here in their article about this situation. The fact that Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, was hit up by Roger Goodell in the NFL, and Mark Davis was told by Roger Goodell that he has to do something and that more emails are coming and something has to be done. Mark Davis never wanted to fire Jon Gruden, but he felt pressured by the NFL to force him to resign. So how else would Roger Goodell know that more emails are coming unless he's behind the email leaks? And it seems like some NFL media talking heads like Rich Eisen here in this interview do not want anybody to believe it's Roger Goodell in the NFL.
To hear something like that, and I'm just like, the commissioner's got so many other fish to fry. Like he's hearing Jon Gruden's bad mouth, and that might just, he would laugh that off, not like say, let's do something that could potentially be blow up in our faces here.
And he just thinks it's so ridiculous, but keep in mind, this is the same guy who said that Gruden's comments were so shameful, and he could not imagine what kind of man sends those emails.
His position was no longer tenable in the National Football League. Period. End of story. I'll just say this. What grown man sits at a computer and uses the word "f*** it" and types it out and hits send? I cannot comprehend that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I think the comments section of your YouTube videos probably say way worse crap than Jon Gruden. And what did Jon Gruden say that was so bad? We know he called Roger Goodell an anti-football. And you even have ESPN's Don Venata talking about how there's been some animosity between Roger Goodell and Jon Gruden for some time.
There's a lot of animosity between Roger Goodell and Jon Gruden, certainly in Jon Gruden's mind. He was running around, telling people, I'm the head of the F Roger Goodell club. And his lawyers believe that got back to Goodell, and that was a motive for Goodell greenlighting the league.
And for Rich Eisen to say some of his other comments were so shameful, what other comments were so bad by Jon Gruden? I guess he also called Joe Biden a nervous, clueless. And oh my goodness, he criticized Barack Obama in 2012. But he did say the F word. He did engage in some locker room talk. But that does not stop players from supporting this guy and knowing that he is not a hateful person. And he had Jon Gruden helping out Derek Carr at New Orleans Saints training camp just this past month. And so that made us think that maybe Jon Gruden is going to settle with the NFL. Maybe they're going to let him back in the league and this lawsuit is going to cool down. But based on these comments by Don Venata on Rich Eisen's show, it looks like Jon Gruden is not backing down and the NFL is nervous and everything's going to hit the fan in October.
Expected in October. Expected in just a couple of months. But I know from talking to people around the league, owners and executives, they're very, very concerned about it because Gruden is very, very upset. He wants the truth. He said no number on a check will satisfy him. And he wants his career back.
So Jon Gruden has been winning in court. Judge Nancy Elf of Nevada denied the NFL's motion to dismiss this lawsuit and force it into arbitration. The reason being is because Section 8.3E of the NFL's Constitution only covers disputes involving a member or members in the league and employees of the members of the league or any combination thereof, meaning Mr. Gruden and the Raiders, but not disputes between Mr. Gruden and the NFL or Commissioner Roger Goodell. So the NFL has been trying to prevent this from going to trial, and they've made it all the way up to the Nevada Supreme Court where they're trying to appeal this judge's decision that ruled in favor of Jon Gruden. So the NFL is trying to get Jon Gruden to settle. They're crossing their fingers and hoping that the Nevada Supreme Court overrules that judge's decision, even though she said pushing Gruden's case against the NFL to arbitration is unconscionable. And it seems like even though Jon Gruden is working out with the Saints, even though the NFL is not giving him any crap for helping out the Saints, I mean, he's doing it for free, he's still not going to back down. He wants to figure out who is behind this. No amount of money is going to make him happy. And these people are sweating. They're nervous because, like we said earlier, if this goes to trial, which seems likely, it seems like it all depends on Jon Gruden's willingness to let it go to trial. Then you're going to get so many owners subpoenaed. They're going to be questioned. You're going to have Jon Gruden's legal team, the digital forensic team, be able to trace who communicated to who talked about Gruden's emails, who sent any of Gruden's emails, who freaking leaked the emails. All this stuff is going to be found out. And maybe Jon Gruden, who's made a lot of money in his life so far, has much more interest in finding out who ruined his career, who destroyed his reputation, who did this sketchy crap, rather than just getting some more dollar signs. And we are going to keep you up to date on every development that happens all the way up till October. We're going to be breaking it here, right here on this channel, WiFiWillie Raiders. That is where we first started talking about this Jon Gruden case all the way back in 2021. And the NFL has dragged this out for over 2 years now, but they cannot drag it out any longer. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.